the reserve grade match, Brother Souths by 22 points to 16. And the under 21 grand final went to Souths 21-14 over Brothers, and the third grade grand final went to Souths 18-12. That's third grade. Wally Lewis to restart play. Belcher. Souths fullback tackled by Dawes, the halfback. Across it comes to Cullen, then Meskel. Meskel losing the ball, jolted out of his arms in the tackle, and it's a Winner Manly ball. Running from dummy half. Miles.
This is where Winner Manly are at their most dangerous.
Green's there, slipping it on to Dowling. Dowling tries to crash his way through, sends the pass back, and lost. Scott Trump, I think it is, has it for Souths. Cross, this time Meskel to Phelan. The other prop forward, Chris Phelan. Gittins in the dummy half position. Cullen, French, further across to Jackson. Meninga's outside of him. And Jackson looking to get it back inside, but couldn't get it away. French into the dummy half position. There's Cullen. Can't get away from Ferrugia around the ankle. We've got the ball onto Wallace on that right flank. It's Paul Wallace about 25 metres out his own line. He's to touch judge's flag is up there now, as Lewis and company had moved in.
Well, South's taking a few chances inside their own territory, but they have been able to capitalise on it and get some pretty good territory. But that's one of the drawbacks, of course. Errors inside your own territory are very dangerous. There's the scrums at the moment, 4-1 to the Magpies.
South's ball from the scrum, juggled by Belcher, just held that one. Gary French, the 5/8 of the dummy half position, just outside his quarter line. Jackson and John Elias. Tackled by Dawes and Coyne, and a player underneath was in fact Jamot. Now this is Phelan. Straight into Dowling and company. The other player being the hooker. Now it's spun back now. The crowd starting to chant for Souths as Meskel takes it up. Unable to pass it with too many tacklers in there. Coyne, one of them, a good strong tackle. Jamot was the other tackler in there as they swing it out wide to French and back onto Cullen. Cullen's pass to Meninga, goes astray and can't be picked up by South. So Miles made a meal of it too. But and the referee is blowing the whistle, of course, for the knock-on.
I think that's the only thing that Wayne Bennett would be just slightly concerned about at the moment is these errors that are coming from South inside their own territory. They've got the advantage of a slight breeze and the opportunity to kick it well downfield. Or against the head.
And South's ball, Scott, 14 minutes before half-time. Souths are leading by 4 points to 2. Wally Lewis, Ian French. And he breaks the first tackle, French. It's the tackle of Jackson's that he broke through. The dummy half position, it comes across to Ferrugia, dipping his head as he runs into Carr and company. The other tackler is Tronk. And the Manly only about 24 metres out. And now 22 metres out, right in front. Green is there, sending it back to French. Ian French trying to crash down the middle, but it's hard to find any gaps there. The final tackle. Lewis, and up goes the bomb from Wally Lewis. Good kick too, difficult one. Belcher takes it well, but immediately pulled down as Dawes came flying through.
Oh, now the pressure right on South. It's the first time Winner Manly have been able to put together 6 tackles near the Magpies line. Here it is again, the high ball, well taken by Belcher, right under the posts and plenty of pressure on him. And now they must withstand another 6 tackles from the Seagulls.
So it's Gary Belcher to drop out. Souths are leading 4 points to 2, 13 minutes before half-time. As taken by French. Ian French, the second row forward, tackled by Muller and the halfback Cullen. The winger Warren Green's there to feed Coyne. Phelan over the top. Underneath was John Elias. Out to Dawes, the halfback, then Dowling. Dowling spinning inside, gets a short pass inside, but knocked down as the lock forward Ferrugia put it down, and so we'll have a scrum.
Greg Dowling having one of his best games, tackling very well in the middle of the ruck. He's obviously been given the contract to make sure that both Phelan and Meskel don't get too far.
Another ball to the Magpies. That's Cullen. Souths are leading in the scrum 6-2. This is Gary French, the 5'8", 30 metres out, 22 metres out from his own line, and a switch back to Chris Phelan. Wally Lewis, one of the tacklers, but the man underneath was the hooker, David Green. Now, up the middle goes the hooker Muller. Spun back to French. Kicking across towards the line, but it won't find the line. Warren Green has plenty of time to get it. The left winger for Wynnum Manly and goal kicker, spinning out of a few tackles, but eventually put down. Chris Phelan is the final tackler. Now, this is Ferrugia trying to step up the middle, runs into Elias and Muller. Just short of halfway, Souths are leading by 4 points to 2. Here's Dowling, and turning the pass back inside to Jamot, but well and truly wrapped up by John Elias. Just inside Souths territory, David Green is there, and here comes Gene Miles in there with the forwards, using his considerable weight. 98 kilos, Gene Miles, 10 metres inside Souths territory, across to Dawes, further across to Lewis. Wally Lewis decides to have a little bit of a run himself, caught by the jersey, but gets the pass back, the ball knocked on by Jamot.
Good work from Peter Jackson there. That's when Lewis is most dangerous, when he starts fading across field, looking for opportunities, gets the hand ready to slip any tackler, but Jackson wasn't about to let him go, got a hold of the jersey and flung him around. There's Lewis, certainly involved in today's game, but yet to be effective.
Alan ball in, South ball again from the scrum, really dominating the scrums. It comes on to Belcher there, stepping into the line, but just couldn't get away. Caught by the ankles by Gene Miles. Now Gittins, the winger's up into the dummy half position. Out to Jackson. Meninga was well truly covered by Dawes, so Jackson stayed with it. About 10 minutes before half-time, Souths leading by 4 points to 2. Cullen, Meskel, and Wynnum are feeling these Souths forwards. These strong runs up the middle, particularly from the prop forwards. Back it comes. Here's French going up the middle. Seems to be South's policy. Norm Carr's there to distribute. Here's Chris Phelan again. Look at that good ground Souths are making up the middle of the ruck.
Easy.
Cross to Muller, and Muller said, "I'll go up the middle too," and gets a little kick in. Was knocked down, picked up by Butler. Terry Butler comes back inside, beats one tackle, runs into Jackson, knocked off balance by Jackson, and then is put down by Phelan. Inside Wynnum's quarter line, Wynnum under pressure. This is Brett French, the centre. South leading by 4 points to 2, and we've got 9.5 minutes before half-time. Greg Dowling runs as he stopped in his tracks.
What a beauty.
Tronk was one of the tacklers. Phelan was the first one in there, and between the two of them, they really stopped it, didn't they? Wally Lewis kicking deep into South's territory. Belcher lost sight of it for a little while, Belcher, then decided he'd better let it bounce. There's plenty of time. Warren Green gets to him with assistance.
And a feature of the match so far that Wynnum Manly have certainly kicked better than Souths have. Wynnum Manly through Lewis have been able to get the ball well downfield, and there's been a couple of pretty feeble attempts to kick downfield by Gary French.
Now Ken Gittins, he's the left winger from this far side of the field, getting up there into the action. Muller, and switch back to Jackson on that blind side. Peter Jackson tries to get he does get his pass away to the fullback up there. Fullback gets his back. Yes, he broke away from that tackle, Belcher. Belcher did very well then. He was stopped several times, it seemed, but now with great determination and strength, he's 30 metres out in the Wynnum Manly line. Cullen's pass out to French. French sends it on to Elias. Elias starting to move now, running strong. Look at John Elias over the quarter line. The pass comes back inside now to Norm Carr. Gets up off the ground. Carr, can he keep going? And he got the ball down. Norm Carr, yes he did. It's a try to Norm Carr, and the Magpies lead by 8 points to 2.
Great try from South. It first came from a great break down that right-hand side with Belcher chiming in beautifully to go a long way downfield. Wynnum Manly had never recovered, and then South got the ball back out along their back line. I thought John Elias maybe had picked the wrong time to run, but he really accelerated. Elias has read this game so well. Every time he's been involved, it's been with a classical tackle, and really that was a fine work from South because they hit down that right-hand side, didn't panic at all, brought it back to the left-hand side. Elias then, Norm Carr in support. Here it is again. This is where it comes back along the left. Have a look at this. That's Elias deciding to straighten up. Wynnum Manly had plenty of defenders. He goes straight through the middle of them. Peter Dawes missed him. So did Greg Dowling. Beautiful pass back on the inside to Norm Carr. Norm Carr had Gary French there in support. Gary French throws his hands up. Norm Carr not held, and he reaches out and just gets it on the line for a great Magpies try. Here it is again from the head on. There's Norm Carr struggling toward the line. Terry Butler just not quite strong enough to hold him out. And David Manson in perfect position to award it.
New player on the field for Wynnum Manly, Craig Adams. I think he's wearing 16 jersey, but not sure who he replaced. 7 minutes before half-time, Souths are leading 8-2. Perugia is off the field. No. Gary French's kick, and the flags are up, and the Magpies go to a lead of 10 points to 2. That's a pretty handy lead with just 7 minutes before half-time.
There's the replacement player, Craig Adams, wearing number 16. Craig Perugia has left the field.
Wally Lewis to restart play. Another kick straight downfield. Down to Belcher. To Jackson, I should say. Peter Jackson, the centre, losing the ball in the tackle too. Picked up quickly by Dowling. Here's a chance for Wynnum Manly. Only 10 metres out the line. That was an expensive mistake, or it could well prove to be one. There's Adams in that second row position. There's Miles trying to charge through there, joining the forwards.
That's Elias' second tackle in a row there, and they both try savers.
David Green's there, sends it on to Lewis. Lewis sends the pass on against to Ian French. French tries to get through there. Too many defenders. A lot of pressure on Souths now to keep the Seagulls out. Wynnum Manly slipping it on to Lewis. Lewis's pass on to Dowling. Dowling sees a bit of a gap but can't get it. Yes, gets the pass away to Lewis. Lewis has lost the ball, picked up by Souths, and then a Wynnum Manly player gathered it. So a little bit of luck going as Warren Green finished with the ball onto Lewis. Lewis sends it out wide to Terry Butler. Butler stepping all over the place, beating one player and another one, and then losing the tackle, and John Elias finished with it. John Elias's ball, the referee saying has been knocked on by Elias as well, which I suppose it was. It was pretty close. Yep. And the scrum to back down. So Souths withstood the pressure.
John Elias getting attention. There's Craig Perugia, a little fellow, and it was always going to be doubtful whether he could sustain the continual forays from the South's big front rowers, and looks like the young fella there has finally succumbed, and Craig Adams has replaced him.
John Elias is the injured player. Yes, he was having trouble picking up that ball, and that's when he was injured.
Could be just having a rest though, Arthur. 18 tackles he's made already in the match, and geez, there's been some beauties. What I liked about the tackles he's made has been critical tackles. He's read the play so well. When Wynnum Manly have made a half break, it's been Elias coming in behind the play to cover up all the time. And this fella's had a terrific game. Of course, he just set up the try for Norm Carr. He's been one of the best buys, if not the buy of the season for South. Not only is he a good defender, but he runs so well with the ball. He's got a beautiful step.
5 minutes before half-time, Souths are leading 10 points to 2.
Mick Viva's there in centre screen with his new curly haircut. Of course, Mick, an ex-South player, be wrapped in the way things are going.
10 metres out, Wynnum Manly ball, so I've got another chance. Wally Lewis is there, losing the ball in the tackle. Lewis picked up by another Wynnum Manly player, so again, a little bit of luck to retain possession. He must have been close to being an offside position. I thought he was in front, but anyway, we'll see. Have a look at that again a bit later on. 12 metres out from the line. Across to Coyne trying to charge his way through, getting the pass away to Lewis, beautifully picked up onto Ian French. French changing direction, can he get through from here? Runs into Tronk and company, and the fullback Belcher's in there.
Should never change direction, straight ahead was the answer.
It's incredible the way he went back in there. Across it comes to Dowling, and Dowling charging through, losing the ball in the tackle. South pushed the ball dead. Eddie Muller flying through to make sure it went dead, but it had already gone forward from Wynnum Manly anyway.
It's a great game so far, but I think a couple of players have picked the wrong option. Certainly Ian French there, where he's got plenty of pace and an opportunity to go for the corner, step back inside, and the cover picked him up.
4 minutes before half-time. Souths are leading by 10 points to 2 as they take the drop out. Gary Belcher, the fullback. Long kick over halfway. Good long kick from Belcher. And it's running well over the quarter line. An excellent kick from Belcher. And Scott right back near his own try line, so that was ideal as far as Souths were concerned. Back it comes to Warren Green, the winger, picked up immediately by Meninga and French.
That's the problem when one player is saving himself. Colin Scott wasn't prepared to hit the line with the injury he's got to his ribs.
And this is Adams. Tacklers there. Peter Jackson before was in there with French. The hookers, pass to Wally Lewis, across to Dawes, then to Miles, a short pass then to the second row forward, Jamot. Jamot 30 metres out from his own line. Miles up into the dummy half position. Across it comes to Coyne. And up the middle comes Ian French. A couple of Wynnum Manly forwards starting to look a little bit weary, David.
Well, it's been a great first half, really. There's been no quarter answer or given, and this has been a top-class match.
Pass back inside. Beautifully done from the half-back onto Green. And it was Dowling who started it all.
Fight on and back play, Norm Carr and Peter Dawes.
And a South ball. Injured Wynnum Manly player back there as Phelan sends it on to Wayne Cullen. Cullen coming up the middle, but well tackled in by Tony Jamot. As Cullen tries to pick up some more ground there.
David Green, the injured player.
He's okay again. Green, Gittins. Ken Gittins right on halfway now. Souths are leading by 10 points to 2. We've got 2.5 minutes before half-time. And Muller decides he'll run from that dummy half position. The Souths like to do so much. Phelan's into the dummy half position. Chris Phelan, Cullen. Back it comes to Belcher for the kick. High kick too. Scott takes it well. Cullen's got up to his quarter line and runs into Peter Jackson with assistance from the second rower, Scott Trott. Running from dummy half, Warren Green, the left winger for Wynnum Manly. Dean Miles, in the dummy half position, straight across to Lewis. Switched across then to his half-back outside of him. Brett French into the centre, sends it straight away. Look at Ian French motoring over the halfway mark. French, look at the speed to the second row forward, and finally pulled up in a beautiful tackle from Norm Carr. Well done. Excellent football. What a run from French. Out it comes to Dawes. Spun across now, that long pass to Lewis over his head. Difficult one for him, and Coyne eventually picks it up. Coyne can't get away from Phelan and company, but slips it back to Adams. Craig Adams, the replacement player, and he's doing very well, Adams. He's only about 28 metres out from the line.
You got him on the left-hand side.
Green's there. Lewis. Longer pass into Gene Miles. Look at Miles starting to motor. 22 metres out. The final tackle's on. Souths are leading by 10 points to 2. Wynnum Manly got desperate to score points before half-time as Wally Lewis puts up the bomb. Fullback Belcher's underneath it, and Belcher takes it. And very well done. Belcher gets away from a lot of them. Left the ball on the ground. Well done, Gary Belcher. 10 metres out for his own line.
Yeah, what a great take from Belcher. That could be a turning point in the match. Have a look at it. Perfect bomb here from Lewis, and Belcher just had to stand his ground and wait for it. Enormous amount of pressure coming through on him. Went up high, twisted his body to make sure the ball wasn't going to be jolted free, spun around and got out of his in goal.
25 seconds before half-time. Souths with the ball, leading by 10 points to 2. Chris Phelan's there. And Chris decides to have a bit of a run and picks up a few metres too. There's the countdown, the last few seconds of this half in the 1985 Grand Finals. Cullen goes to ground with it on the last tackle. The referee said that's it for half-time, with the Magpies Souths shocking many people, certainly by leading 10 points to 2. We mentioned earlier, Wynnum Manly 2-1 on favourites, and they've got a big job ahead of them now, but they were well down at half-time last week against Brothers, and they came back strongly. But Souths are looking a very strong side, leading 10 points to 2. We run through the scorecard, and we see that Norm Carr, the lock forward and captain of Souths, has scored the only try of the match, scored in the 32nd minute. And in the goal-kicking department, Gary French has kicked 3 out of 3. And for Wynnum Manly, 2 points came from the boot of Warren Green, who's kicked 1 out of 1. First scorers so far, for Souths, 6 Gary French and 5 for Wynnum Manly. That's Warren Green. So it's 6 and 5 for Souths and Wynnum Manly respectively. In the scrums, we see Souths are leading by 7-2. So they really dominated the scrum, South 7-2. The only tight head win of the game went to Wynnum Manly, and the penalties 3-all. And 1 scrum penalty went to Wynnum Manly. Now we cross down to Bernie Pramberg on the far side of the field, the Frank Burke stand. He's not quite ready, so we'll hear from David Wright.
Well, fine. In the second half, you can see the flags. They're standing right out from the flag poles. So Wynnum Manly, and I'm sure through Wally Lewis, are going to use that wind in the second half, and that'll keep South caught back in their own territory, and it's going to be very difficult for the Magpies to get out of their own territory. I mentioned in the first half that Gary French hasn't been kicking the ball particularly strongly, and with that wind against him now, he's going to find it even more difficult. So territory won't be easy to come by for the Magpies, and I think that Wynnum Manly, with the advantage of that breeze, are going to apply a lot of pressure in the second half.
It's a bit of a tricky, fluky breeze, that, David. It appears to be from the northeast, but occasionally it's spinning around again, so I don't think there's too much guarantee that it's going to stay behind them for the whole half. We'll see what happens anyway. I suppose it's very fitting that Norm Carr, the oldest player out there, should score the first and only try of the half. We mentioned Norm Carr, captain of South, 30 years of age, one of the most courageous players, pound for pound, who's ever played for Queensland. There he is. He was a tower of strength for Queensland for many years in the interstate games.
And we saw one of his great cover defending tackles that he used to do a number of years ago for Queensland when he picked up Ian French half.
And it's Gary Belcher restarting play for South as the ball goes deep down to Scott. And the Wynnum Manly fullback is tackled about 20 metres out from his own line. Wynnum Manly are trailing by 8 points at the break. South's leading by 10 points to 2. See Peter Jackson in there for the tackle again as he moves straight into Tony Jamot. And now Dowling straight up the middle. A good run too, getting it back to Coyne, but Coyne immediately wrapped up. Wynnum Manly using their forwards up the middle as in that occasion, but this is out to the centres to Brett French, sending it back to Wally Lewis, trailing behind there, get his kick in. A high kick. Difficult one. Oh, great kick from Lewis. It bounced less than a metre in from touch, and then the bounce was too good for Kenny Gittins, and it's into touch.
Wynnum Manly will be relying so heavily on Wally Lewis, of course, in the second half. It was he that inspired Wynnum Manly to come back against Brothers with a great solo try. He scored 2 tries 2 weeks ago, another one last week. So he's in fine form, Lewis, and I'm sure Wayne Bennett would have emphasised to the Magpies at half-time, watch Lewis near the line. There's the scrum, 7-2 with one tight head going to Wynnum Manly.
Dow's halfback, play it back to Meskel, and he'll run from dummy half. And Wynnum, expecting that, moved in quickly. Adams, one of the tacklers, and the other, Jamot. Now Gittins into the dummy half position, and he runs from there too. But a swarm of defenders there. French is one of them. The other one was Coyne, the front row forward. The first man in for the tackle. Now it's spun back. Across it comes to John Elias. Elias coming up the middle. Look at John Elias. He really slipped through those Wynnum defenders then. 15 metres short of the halfway mark. On it comes to Jackson. Jackson standing in the tackle but can't get away. It was a good wrap-up tackle from Wally Lewis. The final tackle. Back to French for the kick. Plenty of time to get his kick in too.
Peter Jackson hurt.
Now back to Scott, to Butler. Well and truly wrapped up by Norm Carr, the lock forward with assistance from Meninga. It's Wynnum Manly in possession.
Peter Jackson getting attention.
Yes, South will be certainly hoping they can get him back into action pretty soon.
They can ill afford to lose Jackson, one of the better players in the first half, limping back now to take up his position in the defensive line, and limping badly.
This is Adams. David Green and Coyne, wrapped up by French.
Jackson's gone onto the wing, and Gittins has come into the centre to give him a bit of a spell.
Across to Lewis.
Let's have a look at the defence in the first half. Wynnum Manly have had to make 114 tackles in the first half, and Gary Coyne and Tony Jamot have made the top tackles with Greg Dowling. So there it is, all three in the forward pack, and Wynnum Manly are having to defend very stoutly in the forwards.
Now that was a bad kick from Wally Lewis, one of the few line kicks that missed. It was out on the full.
Here we are now, South's tackle count. Team total 122, so not a lot between the two teams. Elias, there he is, 18 tackles. He's played well so far. Scott Tronk, 15, and Gary French, the 5'8", 14. So good effort there from South, and both sides been a top standard game. Here we are, putting the ball in with a downward motion and a dummying motion. He must put the ball in along the ground.
No, he didn't get a chance to put... No, he was holding it back, yes.
Dummying, yep.
And the kick from Lewis takes play 9 metres inside South's territory. They've had 4 minutes into the second half. South's are leading 10 points to 2. Plenty of Wynnum Manly cheerers support in the crowd as it comes to Dowling, and Dowling hitting the line hard. Look at the swarm of Magpie defenders there, including Dowling and Muller. This time Adams. Craig Adams. Stopped by John Elias, and also Cullen. Hooker's pass, Dawes, Lewis. And the longer pass to Scott, the full-back into the line. The ball popping out. As it will he get it back? Loose on the ground. Wynnum Manly ball. Ian French. 6 tackles to go. Wally Lewis dummy half. Straight onto the ball comes Tony Jamot. Jamot, the second row forward, 10 metres inside South territory. A little bit cooler now than it was in the first half. This is Ian French.